Before the Echo is brought to you by X's Outdoor Gear, ASIO Gear, and Stealth Outdoors. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. Jason, how's it going?
Going real good. How are you doing?
Good. Just living the dad life at the moment. Trying to
double dad duty.
Yeah, trying to figure out new life as a parent of two now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
like I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, you just hit the 13.
Yeah. We just talked about that beforehand here. Things get a little more hectic when you have two of them.
Mm-hmm.
We're pretty lucky because Huck's four now, and he's fairly independent. You know, he still needs some attention here and there, but he's pretty good about realizing whenever he needs to go and, you know, play by himself for a little bit and let us deal with haze or whatever. But still, it's still we're lucky we have a good boy, but it's still hectic sometimes for sure.
Yep. Mine were 13 months apart, and it was a handful for you didn't sleep for 3 years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, we some people have that, like there's two mentalities of parents. It's like we'll have them back to back so that it's all over.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also, to us, we were thinking about this the other day. I was talking about this with my aunt. Like, it's kind of nice having Huck older, and we can kind of we're enjoying him as a toddler, and then we have Hayes as the baby, you know. So we're not like just rushing through everything, I guess. I don't know.
And and Huck can help, and he's also, like you said, he's a little more independent.
Yeah.
Having ours close together, our thought was that they'd grow up together, loving each other, and be great. And all they did was fight and try and kill each other.
Yeah. Yeah. That was another thing my aunt said, that her her kids fought a lot close together. So I don't know if there's something to that or not.
Right.
But that's funny. No, I haven't had you on for a while, and I've been I heard something on a podcast the other day about I can't remember. I think it was the Hunter podcast or something like that. I can't remember which podcast it was, but Jay Greger, do you remember him?
I do remember the name. I know who he is. Yeah.
Okay. He's like a hunting show host. Mm-hmm. He said that killing big bucks don't matter anymore, and that that everybody kills big bucks now, and if you want to be unique or special, like, you got to figure out something else to do than just kill big bucks. I thought that was interesting. And I know you get a lot of slack for killing small bucks. I get a lot of slack for killing small bucks. So I thought, I'm going to get Jason on here, and me and him can talk about just, I don't know, the state of the internet and kind of the mentality of deer hunting now, and how it's changed so much over the years. Because I grew up with a grandpa that would yell at me for passing up a buck. Like,
right,
only time I've ever gotten yelled at my grandpa was the sweetest grandpa to me. But if I would let a forkhorn go by, I was going to hear about it, you know. And man, we've lost that. Like, I don't know, hunting's so much different than it used to be.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's a good thing or not, you know.
I'm with you. You know, it's funny. I just did that 3-week, 3-state trip. And in the state that I was in, the last state I went to was kind of what we call the state of giants. You know, I mean, it's the land of giants. It's as big as they get, as far as it's one of the best states in the world to hunt. And on the second day, I missed a shot at a forkhorn in that state, and I shot right underneath it. But I even made a comment in there that's in all my, it's in the Patreon stuff for them. But I said, a lot of people are going to give me crap for this. The fact that I'm here, it's only the second day out. I'm going to be here for 8 days, 7 days of hunting. One day I had to go pick up a buddy from the airport and stuff. But I was going to be there for 7 days. And on day 2, I shot at a buck that was just a simple little forkhorn, and in a state that 120s are behind every single tree. Why would I do that? And I said it on the video too. It's like, I honestly don't care anymore. I said, realistically, if I shot a 160-inch deer, I'm going to cut the head off of it, and I'm not going to mount it. I don't have anywhere to mount anything anymore. I'm going to do a European mount on it. So I'm going to take my saw and I'm going to cut the head off of it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take that head and I'm going to skin it out, boil it out, or skin it out and boil it to get it legal to get out of the state. I'm not going to finish it, but I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to throw it in my garage. It's going to sit there like my other ones for 2 or 3 or 4 years, stacking up before I get around to doing something and actually boiling them out and doing them right. Then when I do, I'm going to do it, and then I have nowhere to put it in, or I'm going to cut the antlers off and throw them in a bucket because I just, they don't matter no more. I don't killing a big deer to me doesn't have the power that it once did. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but for me, and I'm also kind of at that state too. Don't get me wrong. If I got a 120-inch deer underneath me and he's here at 10 yards and I got a 6 point at 10 yards, I'm going after the 120. Yeah. But if I got a 6 point at 10 yards and a 120 at 20 yards, I'm killing a 6 point. Yeah. The horns just don't matter to me. And as you've killed some big deer. They don't taste good. I just don't, they end up being all burger and, we end up giving most of it away. I'm not a fan of a 4-year-old deer, as far as taste wise. I'd much rather it be a 1.5-year-old deer,
Yeah. What happened though? Like, why is that not okay anymore to have that mentality? Do you get that feeling from people like that it's like shamed upon that? Like,
I get it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how many comments I get, and they truly don't bother me, but like the people's mentality of like, when are you going to stop shooting 2-year-olds? It's like,
yeah. Or fawn killer. I get that all the time too. You're just a fawn killer.
Yeah.
What? I love fawns are the best, man. They're no, yearlings are the best. I mean, you can almost just skin them and start eating them right there. You almost don't even need to cook them.
Yeah. I guess my only my only hope for hunting is like, cause I, we're engulfed in all this, or I am at least, where it's like, you see all this content coming in that just kind of comes through your Facebook or wherever you're on, your YouTube. And it's so many people with that kind of mentality. There's very little talk about game meat or, what you just talked about. My only hope is that like the biggest media platform in the hunting industry is Meat Eater still. So I'm back on like, maybe most people, maybe this is just some algorithm thing that's in my Facebook feed right now with this big buck mentality. But like, I don't know. Then you got Steve Rinella, who's probably the biggest influencer in the hunting industry right now, who is just killing things to eat them for the most part, So
I'll give you an example of something that people never talk about, but it's a true reality in my world as somebody who hunts public land. And probably the same for a lot of people who hunt private as well too. But there is one reason that I can say that I hunt bucks, because realistically, I don't care if it's does or bucks. As a matter of fact, one of the states I plan on going to next year, I might hit in October. I'm going to go there and I'm just going to fill as many doe tags as I can. And I'm looking forward to that trip as much as I am any trip I go on where there's a chance of big bucks. But when it comes, the only reason I hunt bucks is because they're predictable, and no offense, but they're easier to hunt than does are, especially during the rut time frame.
Yeah.
In the rut in most places is 2 or 3 weeks of your season, and it's also when everybody wants to be out there. The woods is on fire. It's a beautiful thing, but bucks are so predictable and so much easier to hunt than what does really are. Does are random. They're like your wife at the mall. You can never find her,
well, they're always grouped up too. There's always, it's very rare,
Yeah, so I mean, hunting bucks makes it easy to do, but as far as the you're right. I think the world is driven on they need a Facebook picture and it's got to be a big rack. The rest they don't care about. They don't want to spend any more time in the woods. I read something somewhere and it was on a forum, so it may not have been legit or true. But somebody did a generic survey kind of thing and was comparing it, but the average, according to this thing, and I could probably look and try and find where it was months ago, but the average time that a person sits on stand in 2022, according to this study, was 2 hours on stand per sit. 2 hours. That's not somebody who loves hunting. That's somebody who just wants to kill something as quick as they possibly can, go watch a football game and put it on Facebook, so there's a lot of people that are out there. And it's not that that's a bad thing, but it's not why I'm out there. I'm out there for the meat. I'm out there for the adventure. I'm out there for, this is what I like doing. This is a lifestyle for you too as well. This isn't about, it's not a competition with anybody else. I don't care what other people do with horns. And now I do understand the people that are big buck hunters. Okay, you got these guys that are out there that, they're giving it everything they got to try to kill the biggest deer around there. That is their challenge. That is their goal. And there is nothing wrong with that. But every one of them I know would never, ever step on somebody else or give any kind of insult or anything to anybody that does it any different, But this measuring your manhood based on the size of the antlers on a deer you killed, it's a joke, Like we go through Facebook and I see all these people killing all these big deer and I'm congratulating. I never look at one and go, ooh, that one might be 140. That one might be 140. I forgot it already. I don't even care what it was. Right. It's the same. Nobody cares,
Right.
And you can't judge somebody who kills a deer in Iowa, kills 180 in Iowa, and he's all proud. And I'm not taking anything away from it, but it's not that hard to kill a big deer in Iowa compared, to a guy down here in Georgia who kills a spike that weighs 80 pounds. You know what he had to go through for that. It's a lot of work, So like I said, I don't think that matrix is level in there, you know.
Well, Rendell even talked about it. Rendell Eric, who's from Iowa, lives there. He shot a booner a few years back, and they aged it. They sent the teeth in to age it. It was a 2-year-old.
Wow. Yeah, the genetics, man.
Yeah, it's like well, that a 2-year-old, they're not that hard to kill, and that's he'd be the first one to tell you that. He lives in the good spot, but it's crazy. And something else, and I don't take this show as like us bashing those guys that like focus on great big deer. Like Jason said, I know a lot of those guys, and they're just outstanding people. I'm more talking about the people that shame others for shooting small deer. I don't think you're Dan and your Don Higgins and your Lee Lakoski and all those guys. I don't think they're shaming people that go out and hunt public land and shoot 100-inch 2-year-old. That's
right.
That's not what I'm talking about. I think I don't know. It just seems like right at this moment in time we've lost our way a little bit as hunters, and it's something that really divides people is the size of the animal. Something else that I wanted to run by you, dude. Is this the year of trophy pictures where the hunter sits as far back as they can from the rack?
Remember, I'm a photographer for a living.
Yeah.
And I remember back before iPhones had wide angle lenses and stuff. I mean, back in the day, we used to pay thousands of dollars to get like a 10 or 11 mil lens. It wasn't a fisheye, so that you could do, we'd use them as weddings and stuff like that kind of stuff for landscape. But it wasn't like now where you can literally take your smartphone and put that on there and, you can do these shots.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, I'm setting like,
right.
I'm 8 inches from this camera that's in front of me right now.
Right. Like, exactly. So you can make anything you want. And they do. But where it bothers me, I mean, everybody's always been that way. They're proud and they want to make it look big, and I can't take that away from them. But what bothers me is the fact that I want to appreciate this deer. I want to see the deer that you killed, and I want to honestly appreciate it. In a broadside shot with you behind it, your arm on that deer, your bow there, and hold that thing so that I can get a real world value of everything that's there, and I can do it instantly. I don't want to have to look at it and in my mind be going, okay, there's the antlers, there's your face, there's the size of his eye. Okay, what looks like it's 360-inch elk is actually a 110-inch whitetail.
Yeah, they prop the head up with the stick and they go set behind it where they can't even touch the deer. It's just like, what? Or
they put it at that angle so that one antler is like,
so it looks like the thing's 27 inches wide.
Right. Yeah. It's like, and again, I get it. I understand why they're doing it. They're proud of it. Nothing wrong with that. But me as somebody who enjoys looking at these things, I want to look at your picture and I want to actually have the real world value of what that deer is.
See, I don't want to have to. I don't agree with you though. I don't think they're proud of it. I think they want it to look bigger because it's a 110. So, I think that's what drives me nuts is like, okay, so now you got this 18-year-old kid that's just getting into hunting and they see, Bob or whoever, we got a Bob that watches this show, not you, Bob, but the theoretical Bob, who shot a 130 and he makes it look like a 160 because he stepped back to it. And now all of a sudden you got, this 18-year-old kid that went out on public land and shot a 120 who thinks like, man, my deer's not that big. I don't know. It just annoys me. That
I
annoys me.
agree. It's human nature. That's what they're going to want to do. If somebody's sending a sexy picture to their girlfriend, he's probably going to do a little fluffing in there before.
Yeah, good point.
So,
Yeah, and I just don't get the feeling of not being okay with what you like harvested. You're doing such a permanent thing. Like, just take it for what it is, and it's okay.
yep. And we want to too. Like I said, when we see your pictures, I want to see the real picture of that deer. I don't want to have to do the math, by trying to measure his ear length compared to what you got. I don't want to try and do that. I just want to see it and appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah. And I mean, you'll agree with this. I know your stance on this, but like, it's the same thing with crossbow hunters. You never see a crossbow hunter take a picture of their crossbow with their animal.
I just had that conversation actually the other day with a friend too. We were talking about that, and it wasn't actually crossbows, but it was rifle hunters. It's traditional bow hunters that are really good traditional bow hunters. But like when they kill something with a rifle, they don't usually show that specific people, but they're not showing the rifle in there, almost like they're kind of feeling guilty that they used a rifle rather than a bow. And it was like, I don't, be proud of it, man. I mean, I kill animals with a gun. We all do. There's no, there's, like I said, if you're going to do it, be proud of it, be happy with what you did,
Yeah. And I have no problem at all with whatever you want to kill something with, but it's like, you're just taking away from other people's success, or like, I don't know. To me, it's like, tell us what it is or show us what it is and be okay with that. Like, if you're not okay with how you took it, you shouldn't be hunting that way.
It's exactly right. I mean, and again, let it be that way when you let go, when you let the string go, or you touch the trigger, or whatever it is you're going to do it. But if you're not going to be proud of it, don't shoot it.
Or don't show it.
Like, yeah, right. Or there you go too. If you're killing it just for meat, I mean, I know people like that too. If they shoot them, yearlings on them like that, they're not going to talk about it or brag about it or put it out there because they don't want people seeing them shoot those. Me, if it's got spots on it still, I'll rub that thing in the dirt so you can't see them no more, and I'll show it like crazy.
Oh yeah, this is a topic that me and my buddies have talked about so many times this year. It just seems like it's so bad on social media this year for some reason, and maybe I'm just noticing it this year more. But it's like, man, there's some like just fudging going on in social media that it annoys me.
Times have changed, and the older I get, the more I respect the woods for what it is and for the process of it more than, like I said, I've never been one of those guys for the antlers. I never been somebody that watched. I never cared about football or basketball. I never got into that competitive stuff. My competition is always the sports I was always in, where you competed against yourself for the most part. Enduro motocross, where you're just running the clock, skiing, snowmobiling, all that kind of stuff where it's you basically doing it. And I feel the same way in the woods. I'm out there for myself. And if I choose to kill an animal, I'm killing that animal, and I'm going to eat it, and I'm going to post it, and I'm going to be proud of it. But at the same note, like I said, I'm not ashamed to say that, honestly, I'm at a point in my life where I don't have room in my house. We downsized when we moved down here. I don't have places to put any more animals. I got antlers everywhere. I have nowhere else to put them. Yeah. And they just don't matter to me anymore as far as, I mean, is it cool to kill them? Yeah. And I just had this conversation with John Tucker from Tactic Saddle. He was telling me, he's like, look, you don't understand. It's important that you make sure to try and kill a couple of big deer here and there, because you are a business. You are promoting this kind of stuff. Thought to myself, I'm like, it makes sense, but realistically, they didn't take me for who I am or not. But I honestly, I don't care if I kill another big deer ever again. Now I'm going to try to here and there, but I'm not worried about it.
Oh yeah. And dude, if there's a big buck that I have found next year that I want to go after, I'm going to go after it.
Yeah.
But it's like, if I'm in Tennessee for 2 days, I'm going to shoot the first 2-year-old that walks by me. I don't care.
Yep.
You're not going to get another opportunity. It's like,
and now it does change too with some of these states. Like you take Iowa, you take Kansas, you take these places that are a $1 state. and where you have a magnitude of massive deer running around
Yep.
everywhere. And I hope nobody that lives there takes this the wrong way, but I've hunted these places for 12 years now, and I'm not lying when I say that a 120-inch deer in Kansas during the rut is about as dumb as a deer as you can find, compared to like a button buck in Michigan or something like that down here in Georgia. They're just crazy. I mean, I watch them walking underneath downwind of me. They're hanging out. They don't have a care in the world. They're running around all day long like a chicken with their head cut off. It's a great thing. But on the same note, if you live in a place like that, I can definitely see holding out for something really, really big, because you only get one tag for that deer,
Yep. Yep. And I completely agree with holding out too. Like I would also, if I lived in Kansas or Iowa or wherever, but it's just like, I don't know. It blows my mind how people have such a problem, and they don't even know like the context. They have no idea what you went through to kill that thing, whether it be a 70-inch 7-pointer or, I don't know.
I'll give you a perfect example of it. This year is my first year hunting Georgia since I moved down here. First year hunting. I've never hunted feed trees like this down here before. These trees are a lot different. I've never dealt with persimmons. I've never dealt with deer in the swamp with no terrain features. I'm a terrain feature hunter. All these things down here were something that I am completely unused to. And I killed one spike in Georgia so far is all I killed. That spike took me 37 sits on stand. 21 of them, I never saw a deer. That spike's got more power to me than, like I said, I just went on a Midwest 3-week trip, 3 different states in Midwest, and I'll bet I've seen over 150 deer, and I could have shot 12 of them, kind of thing. So whole different world. But this one, that little spike that I killed at 4 yards, was the only time I let go of an arrow in 36 sits in the state of Georgia so far. Whole different world.
My buddy, it's a prime example too. Like trophy hunting will take the fun out of it for some people. Because like you were talking about, everybody's, got in a different scenario. And my buddy Brad's a prime example of that. He killed a really, really big deer when he was 18. And he said he got into this mindset where I'm not going to kill anything, but unless it's a giant, unless it's 150 or above or whatever his parameters were. He talked about it on the show a few weeks back, but he said he went 27 years without shooting a buck. And he's like, and then a couple years ago, he started shooting whatever, a 2-year-old or what. And it's a blast to him, and I'm like, dude, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, you're having fun. That's what it is about,
Yep. Well, and you see this too. I mean, now again, it may be different in the compound world because you guys you shoot both, so you would know this better than anybody. I haven't killed an animal at the compound in 26 years.
Yeah.
But you still do both of them. But there's, as a traditional bow hunter for me, I want to shoot. I want to fill tags. I want to put meat in the freezer, and I want to have a lot of fun doing it. And like I said, you can't shoot enough arrows. I can't tell you how many times I've dumped my whole entire quiver of broadheads on squirrels and came home with nothing. When you can't get enough of being out there and hunting and stuff and having fun. It's got that power to it.
Yep. Yeah, it does. And I've always tried to talk about how much harder it is to kill a deer with a trad bow. If you're within 10 yards, I wouldn't say it's that much harder, but it's a game of where the hunt ends with a compound. That's just where it begins with a trad bow. Mm-hmm. It's like the best I've heard anybody really describe it.
But I can definitely miss a lot of deer at 10 yards too, just for the record.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You can miss a deer with anything at any time. But yeah, no shot with a trad bow is a guarantee.
No, John, we were in that Midwest state, and the last morning of the hunt, I'm in a stand, and I had literally just missed a deer. Last morning, I thought, okay, but I just missed a doe right underneath. It was like 21 yards. It was just, I was like, I'm kind of kicking myself a little bit. I got a text message from John. Text message said, I just missed the biggest deer in my entire life at 10 yards. I'm going home.
Yep.
And he did. He went back to camp. I met him back camp. He's packing his stuff up. He was bummed. He was definitely bummed about it. He's like, it's the biggest deer I'd ever seen in my life. You know, he's 60 years old. He's like, this is the biggest deer I've ever seen. And I had a chip shot at 10 yards. And you just, you know, as an instinctive shooter, if you don't lock focus and you can't keep that focus on there and you shift for any reason, you default to the edges, you shoot over top of them or under them. You know, and that's exactly what we did. 10 yards right over top of the back. Watched it walk away. It's like that was, you know, just brutal.
Yep. So, yeah. Oh, you have to get hyper focused. That's for sure. Yeah. So you went on your long getaway. You hunted 3 different states. How was it?
Was amazing. 19 all day sits basically. And you know, 19 I was gone for 23 days. And like I said, I had travel days, you know, to different states. And then I had to pick up a buddy from an airport that came into one state. But yeah, 19 all day sits. It was amazing. I'm going to do the same thing again next year. Depending on draws, I may have to do some different states, but It was fantastic, especially for me being down here. Georgia is a fantastic state, but I don't care much for the deer hunting down here where I am. Now, you know, I mean, Georgia's a big state and there's a lot of amazing deer hunting here, but where I am, I'm here for the hog. So where I'm at, it's it's not my favorite place yet. And I haven't learned how to do it enough, but it doesn't have the deer densities. You know, it's a little more complicated. And so that Midwest trip for me is kind of gold. Plus I'm going to do, this January, I'm going to do another out-of-state hunt for a week, so I'm looking forward to that too. But most of my, you know, the big majority of my deer hunting is going to be those trips to the places that I like the Midwest. That's what I've done my whole life. That cyber scouting. I don't even scout on foot. I solve these places, you know, on a map, on, you know, on Google Earth or whatever on X, and then I go in there in the dark and I hunt them, and I really love that. So, but you can't do that kind of stuff here. You know, it's just flat swamp everywhere. You got to really dial in and put a lot of legwork into it.
What do you think if you're doing anything wrong? What do you think you're doing wrong in Georgia to have trouble with getting on the deer?
It's not so much that I'm doing anything wrong. I think it's just that, again, still learning what trees. There's like 30 different kind of oak trees, and certain ones, you know, they want to hit at certain times, and you're hunting feed trees here. So, and basically, so what you're doing is you're looking at a bunch of different feed trees. Each one of them's got sign underneath of it and all tore up, mixed in with hog sign and deer sign. And you're going to pick the best one you found that day, try and set up on a downwind side and hope that deer are going to come to that one during daylight. That's basically it. You know, you get a little more technical with trying to get it as close as you can to bedding and things like that. It's a lot of that kind of stuff, but there's just not a lot of the terrain features here. And you don't have the places I hunt, the WMAs I'm on, they don't have the deer density here at all. You know, like I've never once yet seen more than 2 deer together at one time. I've never even seen 3 does, you know. Yeah, but I mean, there's deer here, and I will get it dialed in, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it. But my biggest battle is, like I said, I want to hunt. My favorite way to hunt is to sit in a cot, looking at my phone and going, okay, what about that spot? Let's look at that. Oh, there it is. That's where I'm going tomorrow. And then I walk in there in the dark in the morning, set up, you watch the world come together. And then next thing you know, deer are coming in and you're like, yeah, I did this right. You know, that's the draw for me. That's my antlers right there, you know, and it doesn't matter what's coming in, but just to know that I picked that spot, cyber scouting, went in there and set up and made it happen. That's where my power of that hunt comes from. And he was in range, which for me is 20 yards.
Right. Right. Yeah, I guess I'm not familiar with where you're at in Georgia, Jason, but is the state different? Like, is there like a drastic difference in parts of the state?
Oh, for sure. Georgia's got everything you could think of. You got the mountains up. You got literally like Tennessee type mountains.
Yeah.
You know, the west side has got there's a lot of good deer over there, a lot of deer numbers over there. East side, you got coastal deer. So there, you know, it's a different ball game. Where I am in the southeast corner, like I said, there's deer here, and I'm not saying it's not good hunting. I'm just saying that I got a lot to learn when it comes to understanding, you know, what they're eating, when they're eating, and then, but like I said, also trying to dial in how to find that tree that they're going to hit during daylight. But then on the same note, being inside of 20 yards, preferably inside of 15 yards to shoot that tree, but not have them come in downwind. You know, when I say I had those 21 sits without deer, I mean, I had deer blowing at me from downwind. You know, I had encounters, but I'm not used to that where, even when I lived in Michigan and I could find the terrain features to hunt, transition lines, everything you could think of, pinches, points, everything like that, cuts across bogs, everything I could set up in those, and you're seeing deer all the time. Down here, when I'm seeing deer, it's the last 15 minutes of daylight. They're coming in downwind, and they're blowing at you, because you're sitting on a feed tree. So again, people do it. There's some amazing guys down here that do it. I got a lot to learn, and I'll pull it together. But realistically, my favorite way to hunt is not the way we hunt here. It's the way I hunt the Midwest,
Right.
where it's all terrain feature based. I love that.
Yep.
On that 3-week trip, I don't think I scouted one day in 3 weeks. It was find a spot on my phone, run in there, check it out, shoot up a tree, and I had deer under me every single time. And I think I seen in 3 weeks in 3 different states. One state was horrible. One state I only saw 2 deer in 5 days there. It was horrible. But out of those other ones, out of those 2 states, so 5 days in one state, 6 days or 7 days in another state, I'll bet I probably saw $70, kind of thing. It's pretty awesome. Felt good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That bad state was Indiana, right?
No.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
But Indiana's good, but it's how do I word this here? It's good during the gun season. Everybody wants to hunt Indiana, just go there during the gun season because then it won't bother you too much.
Yeah, right. It's there's not a lot of deer here. Really, there's not. I'm not being like
well, give you an example. The WMA, they post the WMA status here in Georgia, and the 4 WMAs that I hunt for archery season, they have a 4 to 6% success rate. Yep. And now keep in mind, we also have gun seasons here, the state gun season, like in Georgia, just on the state land, or on, the forest stuff, archery season is from like September 9th through October 13th. And then there's from the 14th through the 20th is muzzleloader. And from October 20th through January 14th is gun season. Yeah. How's that? That's great. That's a lot of gun time. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, then you got states like South Carolina where it's deer season. You can use whatever. Like it's always gun season,
Yeah.
So I always feel for them states too, but
yeah. And I think if I'm not mistaken, I think South Carolina is a no Sunday hunt state. I think I could be wrong.
I don't know about that, but okay. It might be.
I thought maybe it was there one of them over there. Maybe it's West Virginia. I don't remember, but I thought one of them was still a no Sunday hunting kind of thing.
I know PA is for sure still.
Is it?
But yeah, I'm not sure about those ones down there. Tennessee was the same way. Their gun season came in sometime at the end of October, and it goes forever too.
Yeah.
Tennessee could be a really good state if probably get rid of that, and that would help a lot. But
yeah. I try real hard to not like down here again. It's all new to me, my first year here, but I try real hard to not get upset or discouraged at what they do or how they're doing it because I'm kind of the newbie guest here. They've been doing this stuff for a long time. The way they're doing it, I'm sure they got reasons for the management and how things are. We can get 12 deer tags here. There's a lot of stuff that, like I said, I'm not used to, but it's my job to fit into it rather than to try and wonder why it is what it is. Yep. So, and I will, like I said, but when it comes to my deer hunting, hardcore deer hunting, I'm sticking to the ways I know how to do it and been doing it for all these years, which means I'm traveling.
Yeah. But the hog hunting's good around you, huh?
That's what I moved here for. Love it. Can't get enough of it. I hunt hogs year round, and I killed 10 hogs last year. I can't get enough of the hogs, and I'm learning all kinds of ways to cook them, and I just can't, I just can't get enough of it, man. It's just awesome.
Dalton was getting me all fired up about hog hunting.
I heard that one.
Last week. I'm like, gosh, man, you're making me want to go hog hunting.
Yep. Yeah, he's a killer too. He gets into him a lot. He called me last year. He was down here. He was like, "Hey, I'm gonna be down here for 3 days." Look, I'm on a wedding. I was out of town for a wedding. I couldn't even do it. I'm like, oh, and so he's down there hunting the whole time. I'm shooting pictures and doing this stuff. I'm like, God, it's such a beautiful night. He's probably buried neck deep in palm right now. Yeah.
Yep, he probably was.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's the beauty of living here. That's what we moved here for. I can hunt them the specific area I'm in. I can hunt them year round, nonstop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thankful we don't have them in Indiana, but I do enjoy hunting them a lot.
Yeah.
We don't have them. We've we've been through spurts. I don't know if I think Indiana did a really good job of eradicating the ones that we had. We had some down here at one time, but they seemed to really the DNR came in and got rid of them pretty quick.
Yeah. They make it hard for deer hunting too, because if you got a tree that's dropping a lot of acorns and you're going to look for deer sign, if the hogs find it, they're going to just totally destroy everything under there. And it's kind of like the elk hunters that are dealing with out west. You got like in Oregon and stuff. You got guys that are hunting elk and they're also hunting Columbia blacktail. And but all the deer sign is covered up by elk sign. It's the same thing here. A lot of times it's hard to decipher. What's deer and you can't find the deer sign mixed in with all the hog sign. The deer are all petite and little neat little sections, and then the hog comes through like a freight train and just buries it all.
I know hogs been around quite a long time in Georgia now, but like they weren't as thick as they are now, right? I mean, at one point in time there wasn't as many around, correct?
From what I hear from the locals here, it was much better. There were a lot more hogs before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what I hear from like Robert Carter and a lot of the guys that I've talked to here. They say that 20 years ago, the hogs were almost double what they are now.
Okay. I was going to ask you if you've heard of anybody say that the deer hunting was better before the hogs really got populated, but
I haven't heard anything on that yet.
My theory wouldn't be applicable if they've always been around thick. I need to come down there. I'm gonna probably I'd like to make another. I'd like to kill a couple of them. Like I enjoyed eating them too. Like I shot one in South Carolina a couple years back, and I
remember that.
Yeah, they're good. They're pretty good.
Yep.
At least the one I shot was a young one and stuff. So.
Yep, the big rank boars, they're a little trickier. You turn them into all sausage, but so I don't shoot them quite as I've let a lot of them pass. But you get 100-pound, 100-pound sow or 100-pound, even 100-pound boar. They're like I said, that 80 to 100 pounders, man, they're oh god, they taste delicious.
I think that's about what mine was. So it was. Yeah, I wish I'd have killed a couple more. After I shot that one with a longbow, I wish I was like, man, I wish I brought a gun with me. I'd just shoot a couple more of these things because with a gun, you could be hard on them. I think. At least where we were at there, we just got into pigs, a lot of them.
Well, that's how it works with them too. It's as you said, get into them because realistically, when you're out hunting hogs, it's a lot different than deer hunting. Where deer, you got deer densities are spread all over a square mile. Hogs can be spread. They're clumped together and they're a long ways away from each other. So I mean, you're putting some miles on. It's not uncommon to walk 8-10 miles a day. And then if you get into hogs, great. And if you don't, you don't. But I mean, it takes a lot of miles.
Yep. And we pretty much walked, 2 days before we got into them finally, but it was fun when we found them. You're going to go hunting late season. You said you got a hunt planned for end of the year here, deer hunting wise.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably. I haven't decided where yet, but most likely, I'm probably just head over to Alabama because it borders me. It's not too super far away, so I'll probably head over there. I'll still do some. We go till January 15th here, so I'll still hunt some here. The problem here is most of the places I have access to. That's the other thing. It's really weird here in Georgia. Like there's almost no November hunting in November. It's really weird. All the WMAs that I've been hunting on already, they're closed. They're done for the entire year. They close
really?
Like November 1st. They're over. And then there's other ones that'll go to January 14th, but a lot of them don't have a whole lot of deer on them. So it's real hit or miss here as far as, again, I got so much to learn. So I really shouldn't say that it's hard or that it's not this or that. It's that I haven't figured it out yet. But so I'll do some deer hunting here too. But it's hard. It's hard because I've already killed a spike this year here. So I got to shoot an 8 or bigger, 4 on one side. And a lot of the places I hunt, you can't even kill a doe there. It's got to be a buck only. So, this time of year. So there's a lot of these weird stipulations that for me as a traditional guy that just wants to shoot a bunch of deer, it makes it kind of hard. So, but I will do some more deer hunting here. I already been out scouting a lot and found a lot of places that are not food-based, more terrain features. And all I'm waiting for now is a few good rains to fill some of these up, make some of these funnels do what I want them to. And I'll be setting up in them in a stand. And I'm hoping that happens next week or so like there. But so in the meantime, rest of this week, I'm going to be, boot leather down and chasing hogs around. But, and then when probably mid-January, I'll pop over to another state and let that be 5 or 6 day end of my deer season kind of thing. So, yeah.
Have you hunted Alabama before?
I did once 5 years ago. I was there for 2.5 days, and I was into deer every single sit in a place that I had never been. But again, it's something that I could cyber scout. I picked these spots. Well, my buddy Joe drove, so while he was driving us down I-75, I'm literally on my phone marking spots that I think are going to be good. We never scouted a spot. I sent him those pins. He went into a couple of them. I went into a couple of them. We were covered up in deer the entire time. No shots. He was using a recurve bow. He'd never. That was his only year he tried it, with a recurve. But he had a Samick Sage, and he was keeping himself inside of 15 yards, and he had a lot of deer come by him, but no shot opportunities. I had kind of the same thing, a lot of deer, but nothing that was inside of my 20 that I needed, But it was fantastic. So haven't been back since. I don't know if I'll go to that same area because, like I said, with me living here now, it's only a couple hours to get over there, So
yeah,
the spot me and him went to, that would have been, I think that's like 6 hours from me or something.
right. Just spot close to home kind of thing.
Exactly, where I can go run over there anytime I want. Their season goes till mid-February. I can pop over there with my Kodiak canvas tent for 2 or 3 days anytime I want, So that's kind of my game plan.
I got me one of those this year.
Such a great tent. Love that tent. I love my wall tent too, but that wall tent takes a lot of time to set up, and it's a lot to pack, and you got to pull a trailer and stuff. That Kodiak canvas, throw the pole bag on your shoulder, grab the tent bag, and throw it in the car. You're up and running in 5 minutes.
Yep. I used it turkey hunting last year quite a bit. I got lucky. I don't know. I went into a Cabela's, and they had one in there for $200 off of it.
Wow.
I don't know if it was if it was one of those bargain cave deals, or I don't know what it was, but I was like, heck yeah, I'm getting this thing. And I love the thing for like just a guy going, if I had my family there, I mean, it would work for sure. But that canvas or my wall tent is nice for family outings, but or multiple people, a group of guys, it's pretty fun to have a wall tent with a stove and all that. But if you're just wanting a good solid canvas tent for a couple guys or one guy, that's a hard one to beat.
For sure. Yep. And it's just like I said, the speed of it makes it nice. If you're doing a 2-day trip or an overnight trip, or even whatever the case is, but if you're going by yourself, that is the ultimate. Throw your cot right in there, throw a table set up to put all your stuff on. I can work right in there. I set my laptop up in there.
Yep. The canvas doesn't sweat or anything like your nylon stuff does.
Yep.
And I love the wall tent, but I don't like the fact it takes half a day to put it up. That's the that's an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. It's
an hour. It's a solid hour for to put it up and an hour to take it down. But like I said, you're also, you need a trailer to basically carry it, plus all your gear, that kind of thing. I learned a lot on that 3 weeks, camping for 3 straight weeks and set up and takedown and set up and takedown and all the stuff I was doing. Gear wise, though, the only thing I'm going to buy is I'm going to buy a full rectangular sleeping bag. 0-degree bag. I have one now that's a semi mummy bag.
Yep.
After 20 days without being able, literally even spread your legs in that sleeping bag, it was getting real annoying. So having a little bigger bag with some more room in it, I think is going to be nice.
And there's no reason not to have one. It's not like you're backpacking with it.
Exactly right. Yep. Yep. So that would be the only thing I think I'm going to change. Yep.
Yeah. That is something that I really thoroughly enjoy, is figuring out a good system for camping. I love tinkering with that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Figuring out how to be comfortable out in the woods.
Yep. And it gives you the chance to hunt more, especially like I said, down here where I'm at in Georgia. I told Tina next year, rather than try and go out for this year, I never hunted a morning here at all because everything's an hour minimum. It's an hour to an hour and a half one way to anywhere I want to hunt at for deer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's hogs are a little closer, but still, but for deer, it's a little ways away. Well, I wouldn't hunt in the mornings. So I would get out there at noon, walk 2 or 3 miles, finding feed trees and stuff that I want, find the best one, climb up, set, and hunt it, and then go back and do the next thing the next day. It got to be, it's a lot of gas. It's a lot of driving. It's a lot of car time. I told her, next year, instead of doing that, I think I'm just going to disappear for 2 or 3 days each week and just go out there, spend 2 or 3 days. I can hunt the mornings, I can hunt the evenings, I can scout middays, I can give it everything, and then just come home. Make it. I mean, I can do three long weekends and get more hunting out of it than I do in the entire season here.
Yeah. Zeke says that minivans work great for hunting and sleeping in.
Yeah, James Orr, he had a Trad Quest podcast.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, he does longshore work is what he does out there in Oregon, and so he travels a lot like that too. And he's same thing. He got sick of the hotels, so he's getting himself a minivan too, converting it into like a bed in the back. And so when he's got to work these different ports and stuff, he can sleep right in there, and he's going to use it for hunting too. He's like, I can just pull up and hunt for a night, and then when I'm done, crash right in there and get ready to go and get in the morning. It's a perfect little setup.
Yeah. Yep. I bought a minivan once to do that, and it blew up on me. I went too cheap on it, I think. That was a while back when I was younger and stuff. But
following the John Eberhart thing.
Yeah, it was a good thought. I had it set up to where you could hunt out of it and everything. But Elizabeth, thanks for the donation.
Mm-hmm.
She said if you want a target rich environment for deer, go to New Jersey.
I've never hunted up in that corner, like the New Jersey, Pennsylvania. I've never been up that way. And it's a little bit of a hike for me now, but it would be pretty awesome up there.
Yeah, she said unlimited does
Yeah.
there you can shoot.
See that one, Lower Michigan, unlimited does. Lower Michigan's a whole different world. And that's what I was saying about Georgia too. But just like Michigan, like when I was in Michigan, I lived in northern Michigan. And it was a whole different world of dynamic of deer up there than it was in southern Michigan, or a whole different dynamic of deer in the UP. Every corner's got its own kind of, own characteristics and densities and things like that too. That's how it is here. Like I said, I got buddies in Georgia that are, 2.5 hours away that are killing deer every single day they're out there, and it's just every state's got that kind of pockets. But Michigan was phenomenal hunting. I loved it in Michigan. That was, I lived there for most of my entire life till I moved here last year, and I love Michigan, always will. I'm not sure the DNR is doing the best thing now, how they're making it where I think, if I'm not mistaken, the year I left, their muzzleloader season in Michigan, you're allowed to use any rifle, including centerfire during muzzleloader. So there's some of that weird kind of stuff they're pulling. It's all under the guise of trying to get more hunters in the woods, and more power to everybody on that stuff. But we can't. It doesn't matter how many people we got in the woods. The fact is that it's still overcrowded because we're losing land so fast. Land's going away so quick that the woods is always crowded.
You think we have enough hunters?
I think we have enough hunters. I don't think we'll ever get enough hunters that it's going to make any more of a difference. We're never going to, bring in or recruit enough that it's going to make these people happy enough. And I think the people that want the recruiting more than anything are the businesses and the manufacturers that are selling stuff to hunters. They're the ones that are pushing that. The DNR, I think they want to keep it going, and they're doing what they can for that. But realistically, we are out of land. We don't have enough land to support the amount of hunters we have, or the hunting style that people hunt now. You go back even 10 years ago, 99% of deer hunters took a ladder stand and leaned it up against a tree, and they sat in that spot the entire year. Or they put up 4 ladder stands and bounced between 4 ladder stands. That was it. Now everybody's a saddle hunter, a mobile hunter, a lightweight tree stand hunter. They know the tactics. They're moving. They're leeward sides. They're doing all the stuff that every one of us are out there saying to do. And then they get good at doing that in their home state. They're like, wow, I did this. And then they're traveling, rut vacations and all that. And like I said, hunting will never be what it was before. And that may be a good thing or a bad thing, but there's one thing for sure. The available land can no longer support the style of hunting we have today, and the amount of people that are doing it. Your days of having a piece of woods to yourself are over. The days of having it where hunters aren't walking in on you on public land are over. It's busy and it's crowded now. It's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah. This year, last year, if you would have asked me this, I would have told you that I think some people are exaggerating that, kind of what we were just talking about there, that kind of maybe they're giving themselves an excuse to not get on deer or whatever the case may be. But this year, I kind of seemed like there was a lot more people in the woods than I've ever seen. I was like, whoa, especially in Indiana here. Like, I have a pretty good pulse on what's going on around here on public land. And I was like, man, there are people everywhere this year.
Yeah.
I mean, and then I got buddies, that kind of fill me in on what they're seeing in their area, and same story. It's like, man, there's 4 different guys that are here that I've never seen anybody here. I'm like, wow, really? And yeah, just something I noticed. And I'm asking people about if they got the same feelings or not.
Those 3 states that I hunted were all public land, Midwest states. I never once seen a plate on a truck that was for the state that I was in.
Really?
They were all out of state places. And like I said, all those videos, they'll end up progressively as I put them out on my Patreon channel. And as they watch them, every single state I'm in, you see people walk in on me. Every single state I'm in, you see you see the abundance of people that are there. Every single state I'm in, you'll see me go, all right, we're fine. I got my phone and I'm recording and going, okay, we just got set up. We only have like 40 minutes to hunt, but I've been bounced out of 3 different places already. That kind of thing. One of them, I'm even going, this spot right here, I'm 1.6 miles from the truck, the deepest you can get into here. This is as far away on this WMA as you can possibly get. And I'm set up there, and 15 minutes later, here come 2 guys scouting for gun season and T-shirts running down through there.
Yeah.
Like I said, is what it is. And I don't fault anybody for it. And I'm glad the people that are out there are doing this, and because it is making them kill more animals. You're getting some of these greedy people that are like, well, I only shoot this, and if you don't, you're a fawn killer. You're not good. You like we were talking about.
Yeah.
But realistically, they're out there. They're having fun. They're testing gear. They're developing skills. They're the days of sitting on a pile of corn, like what used to be how all of Michigan hunted. Everybody there baited. Nobody had any skill set to go out and do this stuff. Everybody's gaining this knowledge, and they're having a time of their lives, and they're hunting hard, and I love it. So, I mean, I'm not taking anything away from that, but the days of when the world sat on corn piles or sat in ladder stands in places that they hunted for the last 30 years religiously, where I could go out there, or you as somebody who had a stand on our back for the last 25 years and went in and wiggled through all these places and had the whole woods to ourselves. I don't have that no more. Those days are gone. Now I'm bumped, jumped, kicked. I can't go deep because everybody's got OnX or got a GPS, and they're already in there deep. And now I'm getting old enough where they're even more capable than I am, and they're willing to go farther. I can't hunt close and overlooked because everybody now hunts close and overlooked. There is no place safe to be. You just don't know. You give it everything you got. You have the time of your life. If you walk in on somebody, wave and get out of there so you don't ruin it for them. Somebody walks in on you, you wave and just deal with it. It is what it is. That's public land in a nutshell now, at least in the places I'm hunting,
Right. And I mean, probably the big picture of things, it's probably a good thing. People are getting into it, and they're doing something that's a healthy thing to, pursue for the most part, as long as you're taking care of everything else, but as a deer hunter, most of us are pretty selfish. Like, it's a selfish thing that we're pursuing, so it's hard not to get frustrated with that kind of thing, so I try to be understanding of it.
Yep, it is. And it's and you got different sides of the fence. I just had a conversation. We were actually in one of those other states, and we were talking, and it's like, you gotta weigh the considerations on what to do when you run into other people. Are you gonna give up the spot and never go back there? Are you gonna just fight for it? It's public land. It is what it is. I mean, you can't beat it. And 2 of the places that I set up in this year that I saw a great deer, in one of the states, but 2 of the places I was in, I'm on film going, okay, I'm set up here because of this and this and this. But if you look right there, there's somebody's ladder stand right there. Yeah. It's like 20 yards from me. I don't care. If he walks in, sorry, waving him off. I'm here. I don't see any sign of him being here recently, and I need this terrain feature. So I am staying right here. I got here first. I'm in here. He comes in. Sorry, come back tomorrow. I won't be here,
Right. So I got a bunch of buddies. We have like group text. They're all from Wisconsin, and it's illegal to put up permanent stands there.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it here in Indiana, and they've been finding a lot of permanent stands this year on public land for whatever reason. People leaving them, ladder stands and stuff. And if you want to get those guys fired up, start talking about people leaving stands up on public land to, kind of claim their spot per se. It just drives them insane.
Mm-hmm.
I think they got the game warden on speed dial for it now. Like, it irks them. And I'm always just like, because it's legal here. I don't even think about it. They're allowed to do it. So
yeah, like in Missouri, for example, too, all the places in Missouri, they got a big sign right there. It says portable tree stands only must be removed. You can't leave a stand up, there. You can leave it up and come back to it in the morning and hunt it, that kind of thing, but no permanent stands, and I don't know if I agree with that or not, because there's a lot of people that just don't have the physical capabilities of doing that anymore. And I think they should be able to, maybe it could be kind of like what crossbows used to be, where, you get a note from a doctor, you have a physical limitation or something. There's nothing wrong with a ladder stand, that kind of thing, or whatever. I guess I mean, I don't have a problem with any of that kind of stuff. I guess I'm at the point where I just don't have a problem with any of it anymore. I just kind of adapt to it and work with it. It is what it is. I am glad that people are hunting as hard as they are, and I'm glad that the success is there. Deer hunting is a lot easier now than it's ever been before. And people are, and it's showing, and I like that. More power to them. You got people killing deer like crazy, and it's a good thing. They get to brag about their antlers, which, like I said, it doesn't do much for me. But the fact that people that have never done it before are now eating venison, and they're going to learn to cook that venison, and they're going to share that venison with family, and it becomes more widespread, and they see the power of that and the beauty of it, and hopefully it gets them into the woods to do other things. I mean, it's you're the same as me. You said it too. You were talking about your grandpa too. I mean, you have grown up in the woods. This is what we do for a living. Sports come and go, hobbies come and go, things like that. This is not a hobby. This is a lifestyle. This is there's so much for the wilderness to teach you and offer you, and people are now experiencing it. And I love that part of it.
Yep. Well said. I took Huck out to shoot a 22 the other day, and you should have saw his face light up. So I'm hoping he'll slowly get into that kind of stuff. He shot a whole brick of 22s.
Nice. Balloons are awesome, and if you fill them with water, fill them with water. They don't spread too far. Like when you pop them, they don't disappear all over.
Yeah.
Put a little bit of water in them to weight them down. Throw them out there in the thing for them, and just set them up. And don't make them too big. Make some different sizes, and but just throw them out there. And when he shoots them, they just lay right there. That balloon is right there. But you can make 100 targets for $3 on Amazon.
Yeah, that's a good idea. He already likes shooting his bow too. Maybe I'll get them for his bow too.
Yeah, put a judo on there too, because then it'll really it'll take them right out of there.
Yep, that's a good idea. I've never thought about balloons.
Yep. We had some, my brother's kids, they live up in Michigan, and we don't see them very often, but they're at that age now where they were just here for Thanksgiving. And so I had a couple of these, smaller, lighter longbows, 25-pound longbows that my kids grew up shooting. Yep. And I strung them up for them out there. They were shooting at the deer targets a little bit and having fun, and the hog target. Well, then when I started hanging water bottles, and putting water bottles all over here. Oh man, that's when it got crazy. I mean, they went through 2 cases of water.
Right. That's hilarious. Someone had a question for you, John 91083. He asked, Jason, do you prefer the Bargaga or
Baraga?
Baraga, or the classic for tree stand hunting?
Classic for me all the way.
The classic.
Yeah, because I like the hill style bows. Now my Baraga is 60 inches and my classics are 64. So technically it's a 4-inch longer bow, but realistically, I don't even notice the difference. But I like the hill style better. I shoot with a cant. Do you shoot with is your cant pretty heavy? Because mine's real, 45 degrees.
I shoot with a pretty heavy cant.
Yeah, so in a tree stand, it doesn't matter what the length is. If you were a vertical shooter and trying to put it between your legs or do something for downward shots, that length might make a difference. But as a can, if somebody shoots with a can, you just dump the limb down there. It doesn't make any difference how long it is.
I got a Northern Miss classic, but it's freaking 61 pounds. I wish it was lighter.
Call them up, send it back to them. They'll take 10 pounds out of it for you.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't know what it is, but it's not a lot of money. Yep.
Well, I'm going to do that.
Yeah,
I think I got a cell number. So,
yeah, he'll do. I think 10 pounds is about the limit, because what they're going to do is he's going to thin out the fiberglass a little bit.
You're saying it down.
Yeah, but yeah, he'll take 10 pounds out of it or whatever for you, and or even if he takes 6 or 8, it'll make it a lot better for you.
Heck yeah, I'm probably gonna hit him up on that, because I really like the way that bow shoots. I just wish it was a little lighter, like maybe even 5 or 8 pounds lighter. I could about 52 pounds would be perfect, I think.
Yep.
Yep. Sorry, I had a tickle in my throat there. It was giving me fits. Let's see here. We've been on here for about an hour. Is the CWD bad down in Georgia?
Haven't heard of much of it down here yet, so not a concern here that I'm aware of. I'm sure it's got its little pockets, but nothing that is that I'm having any issues with.
Yeah, that's something that is frustrating to deal with when you're hunting out of state.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, Kansas and Tennessee both have pretty strict CWD rules. And I'm like, gosh, now I got to freaking figure out a way to boil this and everything. From now on, I got a like a small burner. I'm just going to start carrying my pan and stuff with me all the time. And
I'll tell you how to do it because I've been dealing with it for 20 years. Because Michigan for the last 20 something years has been any deer that you bring in has to be no brain matter, no bone marrow, that same kind of thing. So what I do is I just bone a deer out in the field right there because I got to bone it out anyway. So I bone it out, pack it out that way. Then with the head, when I'll take my knife and I'll ring that around that head there, right close as I can to there. Sometimes you can snap it. Sometimes I can't. I get frustrated. So then I just grab my tree saw and I just cut it right off. But then when I get back to camp, I'll take that. So if I'm doing a European mount, I'll skin out the whole head right there. Right in camp. I don't get pretty about it. I just get all the meat and the skin off of there.
Yep.
And then I have one of those, you get them at Walmart. They're like $28, but it's a blue canning pot that's like 21 quarts. It's about yay big. It's a good size, pot.
It's about a deer head, size of a deer head.
Yeah, right. And I take that and I take a single burner propane stove and I put it on there and I can set that on there and boil that head out. Now it's not boiled like you're ready to hang it on a wall, but it's boiled legal to be able to come in. Brain matter will come right out, stick a stick in there, wiggle it around, but now you're legal to bring it in. If I'm just doing an antler mount, where I cut them off, kind of like this type of a deal, something like this, if I'm doing something like that kind of setup.
Yep.
With that, doing a skull plate like that, then I just take my tree saw or a hacksaw and I'll just cut that right off, peel the hide off of that, boil that out real quick,
Yeah.
But that one little pan and a single burner stove will let you do it really quick and easy.
Yeah. I'm going to just get a little kit together and keep it with me when I'm hunting out of state.
That's what I do. Yep.
Yep. And then some states have weird rules about like I think Ohio, don't quote me on this, look this up for sure before you go hunt Ohio, but I think you can like bring it back as long as you're going straight to your processor or taxidermist. And I'm like, okay, well, I process my own deer, so it's like, what's that even mean, but
Michigan will actually they set up sting spots, like during the rut, they'll set up, and if they see a trailer with four-wheelers and all muddy and stuff like that coming on the highway, they'll pull them over and check them. And if and it's serious, man. The trouble you get in is serious, and for good reason. They don't want this stuff spreading.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. I mean,
that's why I asked you. I need to figure out a more efficient way of going about it because it's been a burden, every time I kill one out of state.
Yeah.
So I'm, you're borrowing something or taking it to a guy. He's like, well, I'll do it in a couple of days. He's like, gosh, all right,
Yep.
So
bone them out in the field, and then when you get the head's the only thing you got to worry about. And like I said, make sure you got screwdriver and pliers in your kit though, because if you're trying to get that skin off of the antlers and stuff, screwdriver and a pair of pliers makes that real easy to.
Yeah.
You can take that head down to a European set, from a deer head to just a skull ready to boil in about probably 6 minutes, and then throw it in the water, let it boil while you're doing other stuff, and just all you need to do is get it boiled enough that where you're safe and legal to bring it back. It doesn't have to be ready to hang on a wall.
Pristinely clean or anything. Right. That's essentially what I did this year. So, and again, it's like one of the things. I'm like you. I'm out of room. I have no more room. I have a space for one more mount in my house. It's like, why do I keep these things? It's like, what am I doing? Someone's going to throw these away and whatever 40 years when I die. It's
Right.
like,
Well, and that's like, I'm 50 years old. I'm looking at them. I'm going, okay, well, and half of them are still in boxes in my shed because we don't have anywhere to even put them at.
yeah,
And so I asked Tina one time, I'm like, when I do die, what are you going to do with all these antlers? She's like, I'm going to sell them to a dog guy, and I'm going to sell them to him for like $8 an inch. He's going to turn them into dog treats.
right,
Like,
right.
that works. Yeah.
Yeah. I love to shed hunt too. I bring these sheds home. Like, what am I going to do with this thing? It's just going to sit and collect dust in my barn until, someone sells it at a garage sale one day.
Right. Exactly. Right. Yep.
Yeah. It's funny what we like to hold on to.
My bear that I killed, that big bear, that P&Y bear in 2005 or whatever. I had that life-size mount in my house. Well, when we moved down here, I donated it to the Bear's Den in Grayling. Incredible pizza place up there. It's all Fred Bear memorabilia. You ever go through Grayling, Michigan, stop at the Bear's Den. Well, my bear is there and it's on display. And but it was, and everybody was like, Tina, everybody, how can you let them take it? Where am I going to put it? I mean, where I'm at right now, I got a 2-bedroom house, and this one is like my office, my storage, my hunting stuff. It's like I'm stuck in a broom closet here.
Right.
I don't have anywhere to put this stuff.
Oh, that's funny. Well, we've been on here over an hour, Jason. So I appreciate you hopping on tonight and talking to all of us.
No problem whatsoever. Anytime.
It's fun. So, all right, everybody. Thanks for hopping on. Make sure you go down in the description and go check out Jason's stuff. I got the YouTube channel, the podcast, and his Patreon listed below.
Thank you.
Yep. Traditional Bowhunting Wilderness Podcast. Pretty much can find you anywhere if you type that in, right?
Yeah. Yep. You Google that, it brings it all up.
Yep. Tons of good information, especially if you're into, you got the Samco workshop. I didn't put that down there. I ought to put that down there.
Yeah. That's mostly cars, tools, trucks and tools and, that kind of stuff. So,
yep. So go check that out. All kinds of good information on there. You've probably seen a video Jason has done. He's got so much information on different types of tips and tricks for hunting and camping and everything in between. So, all right, everybody, have a great night, and we will talk to you next week sometime. See you.
Thanks, guys, for being on.
Bye.